Congratulations and welcome to Royal Canin. This is my favorite part of NAO training. I remember taking a big inhalation of breath. Thank you, finally. And as I glanced around the room at all my classmates, I could tell that they too were relieved and felt the warmth that came from the welcome, or congratulations, welcome to Royal Canin. The result, as you can imagine, was a giant collective smile. I would later find out, after getting to know each and every one of my classmates, that they each or what this truly meant to them as individuals. I'm going to share with you a few of my favorite stories, or 3 of my favorite stories to be exact, of what these 5 simple words meant to them and how being employed by Royal Canin impacted them. Oh, too many things. Walking.
You're doing great.
Oh, sorry. Okay, the first story is a girl, the first girl that I really got to know in class. She had an unfortunate story, but was hugely impacted by the employment of Royal Canin, and that's why I'm telling it to you today. Both her and her husband were unemployed for 2 years before getting the job at Royal Canin. And she was brought on as a temp, so there was a high sense of stress that she really needed to perform so that hopefully she could make this into a permanent position. So she had a lot riding on that temporary position. So she, oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, just take a breath.
Right before training class, she got in a car accident. And during this car, she hit a deer, and her car was totaled. And right at the beginning of class, she was told that the car was a write-off. So she was excited about this because she thought she was going to be getting a lot of money back. Well, because of her 2 years of unemployment, she had a bankruptcy. And she later found out, I think the second day of class, that she wasn't going to be getting this big batch of money to replace this car. But thankfully, by being employed by Royal Canin, she was going to be able to have an income to get the car, to take her 2 children to school. She would have benefits. So this hugely impacted her life, and I got to hear that story. Secondly, the second person I got to know was a lady that had a long history with Legs, the corporation. And she transitioned through many careers at Legs. She was in sales to start, customer service, and she moved into distribution, and finally management. But with the advent of women not wanting to wear nylons anymore, the company changed and she was eventually laid off. So after being laid off with only 6 years left before retirement, she had to come up with, what am I going to do? So she took on a 50% partnership and opened up a doggy bakery right at the beginning of the recession. So it wasn't too long before the doggy bakery didn't succeed, and she sold off her piece to a partner. She had a real difficult time getting a job with a big corporation because now she's at the age where most corporations are looking for someone a little younger. But Royal Canin saw her experience and what she could bring to the company and looked past her age and brought her into the company, and she was, of course, hugely affected by the employment of Royal Canin. Thirdly, I'm going to talk to you about Brent, my trainer. Veterinarian. I was able to corner him on our bus trip to Rolla and asked him about why he wasn't practicing being a veterinarian and why he gave that up to train our class. Because I hold all veterinarians on a very high pedestal, and I just couldn't imagine why he would give up my dream. So he clearly explained to me that it's not everything it's cracked up to be. that being a veterinarian, you have to be concerned with the clients of your patients. You have to be concerned with the fact that everything you do is not like a math problem. There's not a question and a simple answer. You may do everything right, everything textbook, and still in the end you end up with a patient that doesn't make it. Then you have to tell the owner, you have to then give therapy to the owner, and then you got to charge him for it. So that solidified why it was so important and so impactful that he was able to find a job and happiness here at Royal Canin. So in the end, we all have our respective stories about how, or about what led up to our being hired by Royal Canin. But more importantly, what we now share in common is that we're here. So congratulations.
Wait. Can you just step back up?
Step back up for the bullets.
Darn.
Ready. Use your cape. Ready.
Not so fast. So, question for you, Shannon. Of the three that you mentioned, your opening statement was what again?
My opening statement was congratulations, welcome to Royal Canin.
So of those three, the congratulations, welcome to Royal Canin, did that meant for you that it was a time for everyone to share and you felt more welcome to that, or why that particular introduction, and why those three examples?
Well, I didn't tell my story. I was going to tell my story in my speech, but I pretty much shared my story with most of the people here, and I didn't want to repeat that because I thought that would kind of be cheating. So I only threw in at the beginning the thank you and finally, because that's truly how I felt when they introduced themselves. And each department came in and all congratulated us and welcomed us to Royal Canin. And that was just, it was impactful to me. It was my favorite part. I'm so glad to be here. And this is not kissing butt. This is after doing something that I was very good at for 16 years, but it wasn't where my love and my passion was. So I'm finally here. But the other people, their stories impacted me because they're all so varied and all so different. And I've asked almost every one of you in here why you're here and how you got here, and and I can figure out how this has impacted you. So that's what was important to me, and that's why that whole sentence was used to introduce it. But
right.
I guess
No, it's perfect, and I would just make sure you keep that in mind when you're telling that story again, if you in the same context, is why that's so impactful for you.
okay. All right.
And then
so talk more about me.
Not so much about you, but just the concept of your initial statement was, I'm finally here. What does that mean?
Okay.
Give us some more oomph between what that means to you. Not so much your story, but why it's important for you.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter if you say kiss butt or not. It's the same basic thing wherever you go.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So anyone, just to one person to shout out what they saw differently this time than last time that was positive? Yes.
I saw that since you weren't reading, it was just so much more natural. Mm-hmm. As soon as you went back to reading, then everything, you actually could remember things better without your props, without your, and it just flowed. I mean, it's very natural for you. You're a natural speaker without your notes. Yeah, so you'll do great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.